harmonizing with nature. With over 4 decades of changing lives, your self-discovery archaeologist, get ready to be the best of you with your host, Beverly Zymet.
Hello everyone, and welcome to the Beverly Zymet Show, where being the best you has just gotten easier. My guest today, Joanne Cooper, is calling in from West Pueblo, Colorado. Did I get that right? That's a mouthful.
Close. Pueblo West.
West Pueblo West, right?
Okay. That's same place.
Anyways, you're in southern Colorado, kind of, sort of.
Yes.
So what does Miss Joanne do out there in Pueblo, Colorado?
I am a retired teacher who now writes children's books.
Oh my gosh, that's exciting. I've had several women on here that are writing children's books, and they were educators, and man, do I have something for you. So have you...
It's also interesting because my 11-year-old grandson is my illustrator.
Oh, wow, that is fantastic. I'll tell you, these kids coming into the world today, they are, I don't know, they got something in their genes that we didn't have, right?
He's talented. I'm lucky to have him.
Oh my goodness, that's amazing. So you guys are kind of like co-authors, huh?
Well, yes, we collaborated actually during COVID. It was a project to preserve my sanity during stay at home. And
that's a good thing. That's getting resourceful.
I asked him if he would like to collaborate with me on it. And he later said on a radio show that he was on a little community radio show where he read the book. He said that I offered him the chance of a lifetime. And he
oh, how precious is that? Wow. You know, and that's so true. So have you got them already published? Are they ready to buy?
Yes. It's called The Adventures of Kona and King, and it's based on the escapades of my 2 real-life labs. And it's on the bookshelves now. I published it through Amazon.
Yay!
And yes. So it's been published since July. And now we have a sequel that's being polished right now by our wonderful graphic designer, Amy Huber, who lives in Los Angeles. And so she's polishing up our second book, and the sequel should be out hopefully by the 1st of November.
Oh, that is exciting.
It is. We're thrilled.
Well, let me share a little bit of something with you, and it may be up your alley. I work in the world of virtual reality. Do you know what virtual reality is?
Yes.
Okay. Of course, you got grandkids. They're all over the gaming platform, right?
Yes, definitely.
Well, what we've done is we've taken that gaming platform, moved the game aside, and turned it into a place of business and education and entertainment. And this morning, we just launched our fall festival. That's going to go from October 1st through November 11th. And we're looking for, vendors that want to be there. We're looking for attendees. And actually what we're looking for is like authors like yourself with kids' books to be able to have a story time to where parents can bring, their children to the forefront in the avatar world, right?
That's
and
wonderful.
Here you are sitting out on the grass reading your book to an audience, right?
I think that'd be fabulous.
And then you can do what? If they like the book, they click on the book you're holding and they purchase it.
Oh.
So it's a business to business is what we're doing, right? Mm-hmm. And it's opening up globally for entrepreneurs, young, old, new, and avid, whatever, is to be able to bring together businesses and businesses. It's a networking. And we decided that, having vendor events is a great way to network and to bring new people in and just broaden that reach, right? And you also have an opportunity to get on international stages. So now you can say, I'm an international speaker, right? So you can get up there, tell people what you're doing and the whole enchilada, how it came about. And you can have your little grandson on there with you, right? And he can be up there. And he can even be reading the book, right? So there's a lot of things that can transpire. Because in the world of Avatar, that what we've done with the business aspect of it is it's business attire. It's not these little gaming creatures dressed up in all kinds of garb, whatever. It is actually business casual dress. So it looks like human to human. You converse in there. You talk with one another. It's totally immersive. So now there's no social distancing whatsoever, right? And it actually, it's different than a Zoom. Like on a Zoom, there's still a lot of static that goes on. But when you're on the platform, everyone's on neutral ground. Everyone is in the same visual. Like we see, your room and you see my world, right? And if there were other people on here, we'd see all those different things and the brain goes static. When you're in virtual reality, the brain says, oh, everybody's here, right? And everyone's the same. And you begin to shift, so the mind actually shifts and says, there's somebody real here. You look like a human, you talk like a human, you wear clothes, designed like a human. The only thing is, hey, this is really cool. You can be sitting there in your pajamas. You don't have to do your hair. You don't have to do your makeup. Right? Isn't that cool? If you're attending this wonderful event and you don't even have to fly anywhere, you don't have expensive hotels, it's great. It's really great. And so we're, like I said, every week, every day, we're looking for this event to just keep on growing and growing and growing. And we're looking for entertainers of all kind, whether they're a band, maybe they're a student that says, hey, I just learned a new song on my trumpet, and they want to play it, all these different things to entertain. People that do magic. Maybe they're a ventriloquist. Maybe they're just a singer, right? Doesn't matter. We're looking for all different kinds of entertainment other than just speakers, to really broaden what's going on in here and to make it a fun time event. And so it's really fun, and we also have an area where you can go, and it's like a little castle, and there's going to be a little it's like a haunted castle. So you go in and you find all these really cool things, and then who knows, there might be a prize at the end. And we have a maze to walk through, and it's kind of more like that fair adventure. Right. So we'll have rides in there that you can jump on, Ferris wheels and racetracks. And, it's just something that's going to bring people back together. And especially now, we're coming into the fall where all of our connections are, right? It's the holiday season. It's the celebration time. It's Oktoberfest. It's Halloween. It's Thanksgiving. It's Christmas, right? And in the world today, with everything so unpredictable, shall we say, and topsy-turvy, upside down, what a beautiful way to bring people together, because we'll have vendors in there that are crafters. Now they can have their crafted skills, their artworks, and their, whatever they design, if they're quilters or maybe they knit and crochet, maybe they just have a DIY business, maybe there's ceramics, whatever it is, jewelry, you name it. We can have everything under the sun in there, and you can find gifts, you interact with the vendors, you build relationships, and that's what we're looking to do, is to build and broaden relationships around the globe. Isn't that cool?
Yeah, it is very cool. When does that all begin?
It started this morning.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so we're open October 1st to November 11th. And then from November 12th until the 23rd of December, we're going to move in what we call our holiday fest. So you can leave your booths there if you want to, move on, or if we have different ones. But it's just a continuation, and it's a constant growth is what we're looking for.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Sounds fabulous.
Yeah.
I'd like to be a part of that.
Well, good. We'll just have to show you how. Let me open up here. You can actually text DBI hashtag for business to 888-527-7146, and that will get you into the funnel, shall we say, and you can decide if you want to be an attendee or if you want to be a vendor, and then it'll just take you into how you download the platform and get involved, and we'll get you onboarded. It's just fun. Really
Can you put that in a messenger, because I couldn't write fast enough?
Yeah, we'll get it after the show's recorded and everything. So, but anybody listening out there, if you want to be a part of this, regardless of what it is you want, text that DBI hashtag for business to 888-527-7146, right? So that we can get you on an international stage, on an international platform, and really begin to do business and education. So there's a lot of great things that go on in there. So with your books, let's move back to Joanne, right? I don't want this show to be a commercial. That's not what it is. But it is really about connecting and becoming that better you. And, building your confidence and your trust levels, and you told me that this was the only second time that you've been doing a Zoom, right?
Yes.
So there's, little tricks of the trade that we can teach you, but how fun would that be to be able to get your exposure out there globally, just starting in your new adventure with your grandson and writing books? Do you foresee like a whole series of books going maybe in different directions happening?
Well, we'll see. His time is limited because he's in school now. So when we first began, he had a little more time. I have lots of ideas for series. It can go on and on and on. Right now, it's just, I never really got into this for financial gain. It was just a really fun project to create memories with my grandson.
And that's how businesses get started. And there's, more millionaires were made out of troubled times than just regular times. It's crazy. Because we end up getting resourceful, become resilient, right? And you're taking an art that you had as a teacher and a connection, and you can continue your children's books. And then when your grandson gets time, then he can join in different ones. But don't let that stop you. You have so much to give, and it's so needed. And right now, what we are finding, and we've had schools come to us, because again, these children this is their technology. This is where they live, is in virtual reality. So why not educate them and meet them where they are? Right? And so we're always looking for educators like yourself, and especially for these special needs children. They're not able to go and participate in the manner in which they did because you can't touch, you can't be in certain areas. It's crazy. And they're the ones that are suffering the most. And the educational system is saying, we've got to do something, because they're afraid of what what's going to happen here, right? They don't know what the outcome is going to be, and so they're looking for things. And we're looking to do our part here at DBI, and having teachers like yourself that can create stories, because in the virtual reality, Joanne, think about this. You can take your storybook and you can turn it into real life in the virtual reality world and create a questing system in education, how that child can learn through your story immersed in the book, in the world. Maybe have a little workbook to go with it or something, and make it a whole learning thing. Not just a fun thing, but you've got your fun books, but you've got your learning books as well.
Well, my book does incorporate some interactive questions. That's how I designed it to be. It's the rhyming poem format, but after a verse, I will ask questions to stimulate children's imaginations and initiate conversations with whomever is reading it to them.
Oh,
yes.
And that's amazing, and that's the perfect platform to make it come alive in that world. So share with me one of the pictures that are in your book.
Show you a picture?
You can show me or just describe it. Yeah, let's show the audience the book, and then we'll have to tell them where they can go get it.
For instance, this book is based on reality. What I observed in my yard with my two frisky labs, and one summer we had a mama quail who laid eggs in our strawberry patch in our garden, and I was wondering how the quail would ever escape from the yard. And so this is what my grandson drew for the picture. I don't know where that's coming out, but it's my verse is mama quail laying eggs in a strawberry patch one summer. Those hatching baby quail were speedy runners, romping merrily through the tall corn stalks from behind a fence. Kona and the king carefully watched. How would the quail escape from the yard with Kona and king always on guard? The labs coming inside their home for the night, those darling baby quails somehow slipping out of sight. For in the morning, not a single baby was left behind. What escape route did they find? So that's under the picture. So that's something to stimulate their imaginations to figure out, well, what happened to those baby quails?
And again, that's the learning. I mean, you think about it. We're both baby boomers here, right? Or pretty darn close. And it's like, okay, how we were taught in school, did we really learn that way? Not necessarily. And kids aren't learning today, and it's gotten even more intense because of the technologies, right? So being able to learn, like in the manner of what you're describing, you're giving food for thought. And
yes,
we need that to ignite the brain. So if you take that little picture that you just showed me, and now you're immersed in it, that picture has come to life on the big screen, as they say, right? And here you are, sitting on your back porch patio, overlooking and telling and reading that story, right? Mm-hmm. Wow. Yes. And we can have these little quails running. You can have your two labs there sitting like, what's going on? What's going on? Right?
That's what they do.
Exactly. They're like, what the heck is this? This is something new. And again, when you observe animals, people are like animals, right? Because we're sitting here on the sideline, it's like it's just to say if we're watching a ball game. Now here you are sitting here watching your dogs, and your dogs are sitting there watching the quail.
Yes.
Who are you paying more attention to, the quail or the dogs? Right? So when you're on the sidelines and you're observing whatever that is, and life is a game, right? Where's your attention? And this is how you learn. And so to be able to bring some of these things to life are amazing. And this is how these kids learn, and they can learn hardcore skills. And for the special needs kids, because they're learning in a different way anyways. A lot of kids that are what they're calling autistic, I hate labels. I just don't like that. It's just that they're learning different. But their brains are wired different. And I didn't know this about autisms or ADHDs and stuff like that, is the neurotransmitters. I do understand that part of the working. They have like hundreds of neurotransmitters all piling up on top of each other, and they're all turned on at the same time. So let's just say if you have a lamp, that has a light bulb on it, and there's one wire going to it. Let's just say you have 100 wires going to that same light bulb, and you turn it on. What's going to happen? That bulb's going to, right? And that's kind of like what their little brains do, because they don't know which transmitter's going where, because they're all going in a different direction. And so you've got to train that brain to focus on that certain neurotransmitter to create, where you want to send that message. So the learning curve is different. So to be able to teach these children, how to interact in life and how to communicate, the simple things in life. Because when you look back, this has been something that's been going on now for several decades. What are going to happen to these children when their parents are no longer around? Well, we don't want them in institutions. We want them to survive. But if they don't have the basics, how do they survive? So you've got to have their learning compatible to what their style of learning is. And we're finding that the virtual reality world is a powerful way to get that across. One gal who's doing books, and she's got a whole series of books now and workbooks, and she's turned it into a regular little business. And what she was sharing with me is she's got 2 children that are autistic, and the oldest one is 16. Now he's liking to build in what's called Motorcraft, which is a virtual reality, and he's in there building because they're very focused and very intellectual. They I don't know what it is with that mind. I mean, they're just open to that technology. It's like it's in their DNA. But he's in there building. Yeah. So he's in there building, and she says, okay, no, this isn't going to be a fun thing. This is going to be an educational thing as well. So it's like, okay, now you're going to build a city. But not only are you going to build a city, you're going to build a civilization. So now she's teaching him, you build a fire station, and you build the firemen, and you communicate. What does a fireman do? How do you talk to a fireman? How do you talk to a policeman? What does a police station look like? What does a police car look like? All of these little teeny things. A grocery store. How do you go shopping in a grocery store? Who do you talk? How do you check out the vegetables? How do you check out the canned goods? How do you go to the freezer section? Every little thing. And, and now you have to have a civilization, so you have to have other people coming in. And so she's teaching other students to do that as well, because she has students. And then they have to share their communities and their civilizations with each other and learn how to interact. Now, how beautiful is that?
It is beautiful. It's a great idea.
Yeah. So now you have children that are coming into their adulthood. They're going to be able to interact, and the sooner you can get them on the bandwagon with this and learning that, you're taking these crazy neurotransmitters and giving each one of them an area to perform in, instead of all turning on at the same time with nowhere to go, right? And so it's just, it just gives me chills to think about it.
It's a very interesting prospect and opens up the world to them, really.
It really does. It really does. And kids today are learning in technology. I mean, we have teachers that we've spoken with. Now, I'm not sure what's going on down in your area there in Pueblo, but we're getting options, and we're from different states and even different countries, where most of it's like a Zoom, or they're trying to get some type of other platform. They don't know what it is. How can you really monitor these kids on Zoom? Because if they shut off their voice and they shut off their picture, you don't even know if they're there. And
these are terrible times that we live in. So my granddaughter is hybrid now. She goes to school she's 15, so she goes twice to school in person, and then 2 days a week she's home with
Right.
virtual learning. Those kind of children, as she is she's self-motivated, so that's great. She doesn't need a lot of
Right.
looking over her shoulder and a lot of supervision, so she can handle it. But a lot of children can't. So
No, and the
it's difficult.
majority, yeah, the majority are having difficulties with that.
Yes, they are.
Yeah.
Yes, they.
And you know what? I mean, I've had kids tell me this. Like, yeah, we don't know the answer. You know, we just text one of our friends and they give us the answer. It's like, seriously? Seriously?
Yeah,
Right?
that's not good.
No, and there's a lot of
That's not
static
good.
that happens on a Zoom.
Oh.
There's a lot of downtime that
Yes.
happens, you know. And again, when you look at, and this is what they're finding, right? Is now you have a child in school 6 hours a day or 8 hours a day or however, you know, they're so different from when I grew up. But we'd be there at 8 o'clock and we didn't get out till 4. Right? I don't know, you know, but they're different. But let's just say at least a minimum of 6 hours. But everything that child can do in that 6 hours doesn't take 6 hours to do. You know, they can get everything done in their homework and what, you know, that they need to get turned in within an hour to 2 hours, depending on what, you know, class they're in. And now they have all this other hours to do what? And now you're trying to hold, you know, a child's attention on a Zoom when they're busy watching what everybody else is doing, making faces at each other. They're not paying attention
It's
to
not
what the
ideal.
teacher said. No.
It's not an ideal situation,
Oh,
but due to COVID, there had to be some.
But they're doing their
arrangement.
best, you know, they're doing their best, but you know what? I don't personally, this is my interpretation, right? It's my opinion that this best isn't good enough. We've lost kids for a couple decades now, where their educational level isn't something they can even survive in the world, right? You know, it's just push them through because the teachers don't take the time. It's a job. It's a 9 to 5. You know, where was the caring, you know, from teachers that they want to help that child really, really learn? And there's a lot of great teachers out there. And
Well, most of us do.
so,
Like any other profession, there are those who just, punch a time clock and in and out.
right,
Most of us do have compassion and caring, and we
right.
want to see our students be the best they can be.
You know, and that's a beautiful thing. And I know they're struggling not only on the student side, but the teachers are struggling just as much, right?
It's hard.
And-
It's difficult for everyone right now.
Oh, I
Very
couldn't imagine trying to be a teacher at this time.
No. That's why I'm glad I'm retired and I'm doing what I love doing.
Right.
Writing children's books. That's my speed right now.
You know, and that's beautiful because that's a needed necessity. It really truly is. You know, I have a couple sisters that are in the educational system, and they're substitute teachers, right? And how do you do a substitute teacher the way it is today? It's interesting.
That's a very challenging position today to be. It's a challenging position anyway to be a substitute teacher, but even more so during these.
Yeah.
I applaud
So
anybody.
it'll be interesting to see what happens to finish out this last quarter of the year and start into 2021. And because our normal in everything is not going to be normal anymore. I mean, there's really great things that have come out of this. You know, a lot of new businesses, but other businesses have ended, right? The pollution in the world has cleaned up. That's a good thing, right?
I know. I loved it. I think it's a great idea to work from home because of that.
Yeah. You know, so, and I think a lot of businesses decided that, you know what? There's more to this work from home thing than we thought, you know? They're productive. You know, you've got the attention of that home worker now because, you know, they have their kids there and they don't have to take them to a daycare, and they can cook their own meals. They're raising their own kids, And again, it's no different. You have work to get done at an office. It does not take you 8 hours to do, right? So you can consolidate and get things done probably in a 3 or 4 hour span. Be more productive, more focused, and therefore greater results than you're sitting there worrying about your kid, so, man, I got to get to daycare. Oh my God, they told me I had to be there early, or you get a call, right? Hey, your kid's sick, you got to come pick him up. It's like, oh my gosh, now you don't have sick days to pay. You don't have, there's so many pros and cons on both sides of the fence, right?
It's an organizational nightmare, though, for some parents who just lack the organizational skills to do that. It's a tough job. It's a tough job. I'm glad my son is grown and I don't have that issue.
Being a parent has got to be the toughest job out there. Oh my gosh. My kids are long grown. My grandkids are grown. I even got great grandkids now. So I'm watching, them and what they're going through. And it's like, whew, am I glad I'm on this side of the fence,
Yeah. Absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
Right? Yeah. So we have our pros and cons and everything. So, So the first thing that inspired you to do these children's books was to fill up the gap that was created from the COVID. That's, I believe, what you were saying.
Well, I always wanted to write the great American novel and be the next Nora Roberts, but I realized that I just don't have that in me. But I do have a lot of rhymes in me. I have written poems since I was in high school and college. I've always written poems. And I thought this is a perfect format for me because rhymes come easily to me, and my educational background has indicated to me that children love rhymes. They like rhymes. They're easy. They love to be read to in rhyming form, and I've had feedback from parents and grandparents who say they really love the rhymes. And it's something that I enjoy doing. And yes, and COVID played a part because it did give me something to occupy myself. And it was a interesting activity. And when I brought my grandson on board, it was a wonderful collaboration for us. And it created memories. And just to see his face light up when we published the book and I gave him a copy of it was just... And then we've been treated as minor celebrities here in our little community.
That's what happens becoming an author. I mean, even if you just say, hey, I'm going to be, I'm an up-and-coming author. It's like, oh my goodness. I mean, it does set you aside. I know I've written several books now, whatever, and I got another one coming out.
You have?
Yeah. And
what do you write?
Well, I've got one that I wrote on essential oils, and it's a little training manual. How to blend and how to smell, the art of, and then I've got like 80 different oils in there with all their properties and how to utilize them for all the different modalities, right? And then I've got one called the Power Formula, which is Heart-Mind Connection, which is on kind of the psychology of emotions and how to eliminate emotions. Because I'm an identity revelation specialist, so I help you find you by moving away the parts that aren't and undetonating some of those nasty emotions that run on autopilot, that it's like, I don't want to respond that way. I don't want to have that reaction anymore, right? So I help you move past that in like 60 seconds or less. So the book is all about that. And then I've got another one, which side of the fence are you on? So it talks about the world of duality.
Yes, everybody has their special talents. You obviously are very talented in that regard. Me, I like the rhyme, so that's
it's interesting.
That's my contribution.
Everyone needs a contribution, no matter what that is. My latest book is on virtual reality. It's like, okay, if I'm going to be in the world of virtual reality, I need to write the book on it, right? So it should be coming out here shortly, and. But when you're talking about rhythm, rhymes, okay? And think about it, why is it easier to learn through rhythm? When you look at advertising and you listen to jingles, Jingles are nothing more than what? A rhyme.
Mhm,
And that sticks. So that rhyme sticks. Your voice is getting that up and down flow, right? So it's like your whole body starts to dance when I got rhythm, right?
You know, when I was teaching, I wrote rhymes and poems, uh, educational ones, on division and verbs and all different kinds of history, geology rocks, when we were studying geology. So it's just something that's always been a part of me.
But it's a
And
unique way of teaching, and it's a very wise way of teaching, because this is how we learn. It's through that repetition, but it's that rhythm when you start putting all of your senses together, right?
Yes,
because now
absolutely.
you're feeling it as you're speaking it because of the rhythm and the rhyme, and it just lightens it up and it doesn't make it boring.
Right. That was my main object, is to create some fun and entertainment, but with educational purposes in
Right.
mind. So we'd get up and we'd move, we'd dance to the rhymes, dance to the poems, and
So what
I
grades did
created
you
movement.
teach?
Oh, I taught grades. I taught first, second, third, fourth. I taught in middle school, sixth, seventh, and eighth. So I've even taught nursery school. So I've had a wide variety of
So
classes
the
and
books
grade levels.
that the books that you're doing, then, are you writing for every one of those labels? Those
Well,
ages, those levels?
they're pretty much geared to ages 2 to 9,
Okay.
but a child has to have some attention span. So a 1-year-old probably wouldn't, but a 2-year-old certainly would. And then a 9-year-old could read it to siblings,
Right.
for example.
Right.
Could read it out loud, and it's vocabulary rich too. I did not write baby language. I intentionally did that so that there's creating another learning opportunity, another
Right.
educational opportunity to enrich your vocabulary, because there are words in here that some kids delectable, and I use luscious, and those are words that
I don't
parent
know.
needs
I'm
to.
telling you, my little 3-year-old grandson is using words that, and I've heard, my nieces and nephews and other people's little kids, you get in a conversation with them. They're like 3 years old, 5 years old, 8 years old, and it's like, how do you even know that word? Do you know what
They
that
do.
Yeah. Do you know what that word means? Oh yeah, it means this, and you're like, holy schmoly, okay. And so, oh yeah, it's interesting when you start working with them. I've talked to a couple kids now that are like 7 years old, in that 7 to 9 bracket, and this little 7-year-old was actually writing books himself, and I said, so why did you decide you wanted to write a book? He said, because I want to sell it and make money for my college education. I said, well, that's a good idea. So what do you want to be when you go to college? He goes, I want to be a coder
Yes.
and an engineer at 7 years old. And I'm thinking, now this is going to really date me, right? I'm thinking, you're
Yes.
supposed to be wanting to be an Indian and a cowboy and a fireman. It's like, I want to be a coder and an engineer.
Not anymore.
No. So,
No, not with our technology.
oh my gosh, it's in their DNA. It's just in their DNA. So,
Yes, absolutely.
yeah.
Absolutely.
So, Joanne, how do people get this book if they want it?
Well, they go to Amazon, and it's only $9.95 for 29 pages of fun and frivolity and entertainment and education as well.
Okay, can you
So
hold the book up
that's
so
where
we
I
can see
publish
the
it.
name of it?
Yes. It's called, can you see it?
Yeah, there we go. Go to your left a little bit. There we go. Conga and King.
The Adventures of Kona and King. Yes. It's
Okay.
about, and who doesn't love dogs? It's about my 2 frisky Labrador retrievers and all their antics and their escapades.
That's cool.
And the second book is going to be more fanciful. It's going to be rocking the holidays with Kona and King and celebrating other special days through the year. So that's going to come out in time for the holidays on
Nice.
Amazon as well.
There
We're
we
gonna do that
go.
one.
There we go. And it's under Joanne Cooper.
Joanne Cooper.
And now you
Or
spell
you can
Joanne
just
a little bit different, so let's spell that name.
Joanne, all one word.
Okay.
It's all
So
one
it
word.
kind of looks
Joanne
like
Cooper.
Joni instead of
You
Joanne.
can
but
just Google The Adventures of Kona and King, and it will pop right up.
There you
on
go. The
Amazon.
Adventures
So
of Kona and
that's
King.
the way you can purchase it, and it's a delightful book. It's like I said, geared to ages 2 through 9, and has lots of colorful illustrations. My grandson did a fabulous job, and written by a grandmother and her grandson, so it creates wonderful memories for us.
It does. So how hopefully you guys are all listening out there, it may give you a little intuition, right? To like, incentive to maybe. Who knows? And stay tuned. You never know. She might be in that virtual reality as well, right? And if you want to know more about the virtual reality world and how you can perform in there, just text DBI hashtag for business to 888-527-7146. And don't forget to go to Amazon and check out Joanne's book, The Adventures of Kona and King. And wow, we're going to just have to get you back on, share your next book, and see what happens, right?
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
So thank you so much for being with us today, Joanna.
Thank you.
And we will all, man, my tongue's not working good this morning. We'll all see you on the next show. Go out there, be that best you that you can be, because Joanne and I are going to be the best we that we can be. And we'll see you all on the next show.